Hello, good evening, and good morning, good afternoon, dear Dhamma friends. I am Bhante Pesala from Sri Lanka, Lamnorukanda Forest Monastery, and I warmly welcome all of you for today's Dhamma talk also. Uh, Before we dive into the today's Dhamma discussion, let's pay our homage to the Samma Sambuddha. With me, all of us uh, pay our veneration to the Buddha. Let's say three times Namo Tassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddham dhammam sangham namassami. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Dear Dhamma friends, today I'm going to discuss with you Velāma Sutta. This sutta is in the Aṅguttara Nikāya, or the numbered discourses, chapter number 9 and sutta number 20. It is a very famous sutta. It is really talking about, in the beginning, it talk about dana or giving, and different kinds of giving it explains. And in the middle, it talk about samatha or the bhavana, doing bhavana. And finally, it talk about vipassana also. Uh, the reason behind to preach this sutta is that in the Buddha's uh, dispensation or the sasana, various kinds of disciples are there. So when they practice, uh, some are not talent to maintain different kinds of skills. As a practitioner, we have to maintain the balance between different kinds of skills. For an example, most of the followers in my country, especially Sri Lanka, mm, they mostly focus on the dana or the armies. It mean different kinds of offerings to the Buddha. you know Traditionally and as a ritual, they practice that. They mostly focus on dana as well as other kinds of different offerings to the Buddha. What I mean to say that, mm, you know, as Buddhist practitioners, once they get sickness, so kind of diseases like that, then they go before the Buddha's statue or a Bodhi tree or to a pagoda, and they offering so many things like medicines and kind of that. And when they offer medicines, kind of materials like that, then they expect the health, and uh, they expect the cure of the diseases by offering things, and by giving dana they expect wealth. But they don't much focus on the vipassana side or the bhavana side. And the other side, In the other aspect, there are some practitioners, they only focus on the bhavana. They focus on the meditation only. They don't think about the materialistic offerings and materialistic thing. They don't care. They don't much interested about dana. Especially, I've seen recently, there was a comment on that one of the disciple. As Buddhist practitioners, normally we offer Buddha Puja. Buddha Puja mean, before a statue, uh, we offer dana to the Buddha. By remembering the Buddha's qualities, some disciples offer dana. So I've seen that this action was criticized by so many people. They criticize this action because they think offering something before a statue, it's not a worthy thing to do, and they criticize that event. But actually, as Buddhist, we offer not things to the statues, but it symbolizes the Buddha. So we offer things to the Buddha. It is a practice of giving. And as modern people, we might hesitate to believe those kind of practices. Likewise, I said, most practitioners, they don't know how to balance their skills. So in this sutta, it Buddha clearly taught us how to balance our different skills. By giving dana, it helps to progress in our path. And also, by doing metta, it will also help to our path. As well as when we practice vipassana, it will also uh, useful for us to go through the path. So let's dive into the sutta. uh, the sutta happens at one time. The Buddha was staying near Savatthi in Jetas Grove, Anāthapiṇḍika's monastery. Then the household Anāthapiṇḍika went up to the Buddha, bowed, and sat down to one side. The Buddha said to him, "Householder, I wonder whether your family still gives gifts." So Buddha was asking from question from his chief patron, and uh, Buddha was asking this question not because that Buddha getting not getting any dana, but he is getting the dana. But during these days, at the time of speaking, when this Anāthapiṇḍika has offered so many of materialistic things to the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha, especially when he offered Jetavanārāme, the main monastery of Buddhism at that time, he has spent 44 crores of gold coins, as well as since he is a donor, lots of people have get loans from out of him, and they didn't and the people who have taken the loans, they didn't pay back to him 18 crores of gold coins. And another 18 crores of gold coin he lost, you know due to he was trying to deposit in a place, and uh, it was flooded with floodings. Then he has lost the money. So likewise, he has lost lots of materialistic wealth. And at the time of speaking, he offered dana to the sangha as well as the poor people, but he was unable to offer much good food, fine food, refined food. He offered only coarse food. So that's why he was worrying. As a donor, he was worrying not because he has lost wealth, but because he was unable to offer refined foods to the recipients. That's why he was worrying. Not like us, like we suppose, if we have this kind of situation, we offer because we have lost the money. That's why we are worrying. But as a chief donor of the Buddha, he was not worrying about the wealth. diminishing of the wealth. He was just thinking about how can I offer good materialistic things to the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha as well as the poor people. That's why he was worrying at that time. So then, by knowing that, Buddha was asking this question, and he replied that yes, sir. It still it continues. It does, sir. But he said, but only coarse gruel with pickles, bhante. When the Buddha, I offer only coarse food with sour gruel. That was the thing that he was offering at that time. Then Buddha said to him, householder, someone might give a gift that's either coarse or fine. The effect or the consequences of the dana depend on not what you give, but actually it depends on how you give. So that's the thing it talk about in the sutta. So one might give coarse food or fine food. That doesn't matter. But he give it carelessly. Mean asakkacham deti mean he gives without any care, without any preparation. You know, as a normal human being, when you want to eat something, you have to do some preparation. And suppose if you want to eat rice, you cannot directly eat rice. You need some preparations, and if you prepare that food with care, then it will be a good food to eat. Similarly, when we before we offer something, we have to do a careful preparation. That's what the first uh, factor mentioned. So but in this case, the one who is offering things is he offer carelessly, the first one. And secondly, whatever he offers thoughtlessly, mean without thinking. uh, we have to think about the recipient, and think about the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. We should know the benefits of the dana, and like that we have to think. This person gives thoughtlessly, and thirdly, he is giving dana not with their own hand. He just uh, encouraging others to give, but he doesn't give dana. And the fourth one, they give the dregs, which is left over, they give. But as a when we offer dana, uh, we have to give not the leftovers. We have to ask from the recipient, and most suitable thing has to be offered. And the fourth one, they give without consideration for consequences, especially the one who doesn't have the right view. Mean he doesn't know the benefits or the consequences of the dana. Without knowing the consequences, just giving things. So he will not receive the good effects or the consequences. And this person anyway, without these factors, he is giving dana. So in return, he will get the consequences. Like then, wherever the results of any such gift manifest, their mind doesn't incline toward enjoyment of nice food, clothes, vehicles, or the five refined kinds of sensual stimulation. Uh, and that means, the as human beings, we if we offer dana even without these factors, one might get the benefits out of the dana. But their mind doesn't turn towards the enjoyment of the pleasure. You may have seen that in a society there are so many wealthy people. They have enough money, enough wealth, but they don't enjoy them because of the craving, because of the tanha. They don't enjoy, because they always thinking to pile up the money, deposit the money without being use the money, use the wealth. That happens because of the in the previous life they have been offered dana, but without with carelessly. And also they may have lots of children, wives, and bond servants also they are having, employees and workers also they have, but they don't want to listen. Their workers don't want to listen, and they don't take instructions from them. Why is that? Because that is the result of deeds done carelessly. And in the other case, the Buddha said, someone might give a gift that's either cause or fine, but they give it carefully. They with much care, with after much preparation, good preparation, they offer food to the recipient, as well as thoughtfully they offer dana, as well as with their own hand they offer dana. They don't give the dregs or the leftovers. They give as dana what is necessary, and they give it consideration for consequences. They know the benefits of the dana. Dana is coming uh, under the conventional truth. In Buddhism there are two ways of samadhi, two ways of right view. One is conventional, the other one is the ultimate, mean Lokottara. So we have to balance between these two right views. One might think always the conventional right view, and uh, they do so many materialistic and worldly things, and they expect something in return. And at the same time the others, they think only the ultimate uh, right view, or they think only the four noble truths without practicing dana and kinds of things. These both parties are at extreme, so we have to, as practitioner, we have to balance these two paths. And because of these good qualities, he will also reap the results of dana. And once they reap the results, their mind turn towards the enjoyment of nice food, clothes, vehicles, or the fire refined kinds of sensual stimulation. And he also gets children, wives, families, bond servants, employees, and workers. And the workers and all the family members want to listen to them, and they actively listen to him. And once he gives instructions or admonitions, the family members and the servants and the workers and the employees, they will receive the instruction and admonitions carefully. Why is that? Because that is the result of deeds done carefully, because he has done the dana with carefulness, with care. And at that time Buddha just related with a fine jataka story. There Buddha said, once upon a time householder, there was a Brahmin named Velāma. He gave the following gift, a great offering. He gave 84,000 bowls filled with silver. Just imagine Buddha was talking about one of the existence. He was born as Bodhisattva, named was a Velāma. He was a Brahmin at that time. There were no Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. He was offering a great offering, great dana, not to the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, but to the group of people, to a group of people in the society. There he offered 84,000 gold bowls filled with silver. Actually, one might think, is it possible like to offer that kind of a dana? But you don't think about that the story. Let's go into the essence after just discussing the story. And Also, he offered 84,000 silver bowls filled with gold. Not only that, 84,000 bronze bowls filled with gold coins, and also 84,000 elephants with gold adornments and banners, covered with gold netting, 84,000 chariots upholstered with the hide of lions, hide of tigers, and hide of leopards, and with cream rugs with gold adornments and banners, covered with gold netting, 84,000 milk cows with silken reins and bronze pails. Not only that, 84,000 maidens bedecked with jeweled earrings. And not only that, 84,000 couches spread with woolen covers, shag piled pure white or embroidered with flowers and spread with a fine deer hide, with canopies above and red pillows at both the ends. And it is said another 84,000 multiply into 100,000. That is the amount of fine clothes of linen, cotton, silk, and wool. And who can say how much food? The amount of food and drinks, snacks, meals, refreshments, and other beverages. It is immense. It is said it seems like an overflowing river. That's the quantity of the dana. So during as the the Buddha's time, Bodhisattva as Bodhisattva, he had offered that much of thing. You know, when this type of dana happens, like suppose if you offer something to a monastic, and there are some different stories. They may one might offer so many things, but in this Buddha Sasana, uh, the recipient or the sangha or the monastic should know the limitations when they accepting things from the laity. But in this sasana, as laity, as the people who offer, we should not keep any limitation. We can offer whatever the things we want. That is because that is the nature of this sasana. But as recipient monastic, they should know the limitations. But as the donors, we have no limitation. We can offer anything. That is because we expect to eradicate our craving. That's why we are allowed to offer much things to the recipients. So that's why as dana perfection or the dana paramita, our great teacher as Bodhisattva practice dana in that way. Then after this story, Buddha said to the uh, Anāthapiṇḍika householder, you might think, surely the Brahmin Velāma must have been someone else at that time, because even by hearing us, we might feel kind of uh, strange, because was it happen like that? Can someone offer a dana like that? And the Buddha said to that's why Buddha said to the uh, Anāthapiṇḍika, you might have doubts on this incident, but you should not see it like this. Buddha said, I myself was the Brahmin Velam at that time. Buddha said, I gave that gift, that great offering, but unfortunately, but at that time when the event was there was no one worthy of religious donation, and no one to purify the religious donation, because at that time there were no one uh, under the monastic community, Buddha Dhamma Sangha, as well as there were no one with ethical conduct, with sila. That's why, though he had offered this much of a great dana, the uh, the it's not a fruitful dana. And there further Buddha said, it would be more fruitful to feed one person accomplished in weave than that great offering of Velāma. But household Anāthapiṇḍika, you are so much of fortunate. Now as a poor one, you might offer coarse food or refined food. But now as recipient, you have received Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha and the noble followers. And if you offer single meal, just a handful of rice to the one Sotapanna, it will exceeded the benefits of that great offering that I had done as Brahmana Vela. So that's what the first one thing. If one offer least amount of offering to a Sotapanna one, the that great dan offering will be exceeded. And secondly, it said, it would be more fruitful to feed one once returner than 100 persons accomplished in view. It is better to feed one Sakadagami than 100 Sotapannas. It would be more fruitful to feed one Anagami or non-returner than 100 of Sakadagami, 100 of once returners. And it would be more fruitful to feed one perfected one than 100 non-returners. And further it goes, it would be more fruitful to feed one independent Buddha or the Pacheka Buddha or the private Buddha than 100 perfected one. It would be more fruitful to feed one fully realized one, a perfected one, a fully awakened Buddha than 100 of Pacheka Buddhas or the private Buddhas. It would be more fruitful to feed the mendicant of Sangha headed by the Buddha than to feed one realized one or the perfected one, a fully awakened one. People might think that nowadays can we offer such kind of dana because Buddha was not there, enlightened beings mostly not there. But according to Buddhism, it can be offered. So that's why before we offer dana, when we go to a monastery, before we offering dana to the sangha, the first part we offer to the Buddha. After that, we offer to the sangha because we offer before a statue, but doesn't matter. That statue symbolizes the Buddha. And one of the occasion, Buddha said, it doesn't matter whether the Buddha physically available or not. If one offering things with good heart, he will reap the benefit like real Buddha Puja. So that is that's why the results of the offerings or the dana not solely depend on what you offer, but how you offer. And your mindset is the most required matter here. And further, Buddha said, it would be more fruitful to one to build a dwelling, especially for the Sangha of the four quarters, than to feed the mendicant Sangha headed by the Buddha. That's why it's important when you offer a dana, or else if you create a kuti or a monastery and offer to the Sangha, you have to keep in your mind that offering should not be only to a particular or a certain group of monastics. Suppose if I as a Sri Lankan lady, if we create a monastery only to the Sri Lankan monks, then his dana will just the benefits will be limited. Why? Because he had offered only to a particular group. But when you offer to the dana or any kind of puja to the sangha, you have to uh, offer it to the whole sangha, all the monastic who were in the past, who are in the present, as well as who will be in the future. We have to uh, we have to offer that offering to the whole sangha. Then you will get the much uh, benefits out of the dana. So that's why when we uh, offer a monastery or a kuti to the sangha, it is said uh, four quarters sangha. That means all the sangha can be benefited out of this puja. That's the nature of the well built mind. of a good donor. It would be more fruitful to go refuge the Buddha and the teaching and the sangha with a confident heart than to build a dwelling for the sangha of the four quarters. This is very important factor, as practitioners, we go refuge. Buddham saranam gacchami, I go refuge the Buddha. Dhamman saranam gacchami, I go refuge the Dhamma. And Sangham saranam gacchami, I go refuge the Sangha. Likewise, by we just say three sentences, we go refuge. It will give you much more merit than all the danas effects will be exceeded by this very act. So this is the powerful of your mind. And it would be more fruitful to undertake the training rules, not to kill living creatures, steal, commit sexual misconduct, and lie or take alcoholic drinks that causes negligence. So those are the five precepts. Than to go for refuge of the Buddha. If one with observing five precepts, it will benefit. It will give you much more merits than all. It will exceed at all the danas. So that is the nature of the mind. And further it goes, it would be more fruitful to develop a heart full of love or the metta, even just as long as even just as long as it takes to pull a cow's udder. That means than to undertake the training rules. If one uh, practice method as long as just uh, a whiff, mean if you take a inhale just to take a breath, you will spend less amount of time. And this much of time, if you practice method, it will give you much benefits than the other, all the materialistic offering. It will be passed, it will be exceeded by this very small act. So that is the power of the mind. And finally, the last one, Buddha said, it would be more fruitful to develop the perception of impermanence. That means anicca sanya, perception of impermanence. Even as far as even as long as finger snap, than to do all of these things, including developing a uh, heart of love for as long as it takes to pull a cow's udder. You know, practicing vipassana is much more beneficial than to practicing metta. So, the one who is truly practicing the Buddha's word, he is the true one. He's the one who is offering truly to the Buddha. That's why uh, Buddha just focusing us to, you know just telling us to focus. Our focus has to be put more towards the uh, practice than to offering. So this is the end of the sutta, and here it talks about the dana. We have to practice dana, and we have to practice bhavana, as well as especially we have to practice vipassana. So once you are a vipassana practitioner, then you have to consider about dana and the other bhavanas as well. And you as a donor, you have to think about the vipassana side also. In that way, as a practitioner, we have to balance between these kinds of activities. So with that, we have come to the end of the sutta, and if you have any doubt, you can ask right now. So today we have not received any questions so far. So let's just share the merits to the uh, devas, as well as our departed one, as well as our teachers, as well as our noble friends, and to our noble friends. Especially, I would like to recall my names of my teachers, especially Venerable Man Kadavul Sudarsana Thera, as well as Venerable Man Kadavul Nandaratana Thera, as well as Venerable Potmali Kumara Kassapa Thera, as well as Bhante Sudaso, Ayasoma, and all the Sangha members in the Empty Cloud Monastery, and all the Sanghas who are practicing in where different places in the globe. All the Sangha may receive these merits and may be able to get the well-being of the physical as well as the mental, and finally may they able to gain the supreme liberation. And I offer these merits to the our departed relatives. May they receive these merits, and our departed relatives may have a great life, comfortable life, physically and mentally. And finally, may they reach to the uh, final liberation. uh, right now there was a question, so before I ending up, I would like to answer this question. Sud asked, dear Venerable, so a thought of metta is more powerful than a physical dana. Uh, Actually, that's what the Buddha in the sutta we were discussing. Uh, the Buddha said in one of the sutta, Mahanama Sutta, as I remember, uh, we should not fear about the merits. Ma punyanam bahait. Uh, we should not fear, we should not hesitate towards the merits. And sukasesam adivachanam punyam means that doing merits means that he is getting comfort. And Buddha talk about merits, not only about the physical offering. In that sutta, in that Mahanama Sutta, Buddha talking about the metta bhavana. Once one practices metta, it will passes. It is so much powerful than these all the materialistic dana, just for a moment. Because by practicing metta means that you are practicing friendliness, universal benevolence, and in your mind you wish the well-being of all the beings. First you think of the well-being of yourself, then at second you will share that well-being towards the all the beings, without any directions, without any limitations, without any boundaries, to the whole universe you spread. That's why once the practicing of method, it is so much important. Suppose you are practicing method, and suppose you have a group, it is included yourself, as well as uh, enemies, as well as friends, as well as the people who are not tied the friends, as well as enemies, the neutral one. So at that time, your group will be fallen into a group of murderers, and they might come to you and ask, uh, if if we are going to kill someone, I want to pick out of this group someone. Then one might ask from you, which one you prefer. At that time, if you say, uh, okay, don't kill others, kill myself, then it says that your metta is not full perfected, because you have practiced metta towards the other being, but you have not practiced metta towards about you. And if you say, okay, uh, kill my enemies, that time also you have not practiced method. And if you tell to kill the friends, that time also you are not that in that case also you have not practiced metta well. As well as the neutral ones, if you tell anyone to pick up for killing, that means you have not practiced metta well. So that is the nature of the practice. I mean, that's why, out of the mental activities, verbal activities, as well as the physical activities, the mental activities is the most important thing. That's why as a practitioner we have to practice our mind, as people, as practitioners. Now we are physically okay, now we can say things, we can do physical activities, but when the death comes, when the end of our life comes to us, we cannot move physically and verbally, because we have our bodies, time to time it is reaching to the debilitated nature. At the deathbed we might not even move our physical body. At that time our mind should be practiced well. When you have the practiced mind, you can face any kind of uh, difficulties. That's why the importance of the mind is here talked much in Buddhism. He should also asking, dear Bhante, if one tries to practice metta but only practice it imperfectly, despite this, is it more likely to still lead happy results? Yes, in Buddhism, practicing metta, uh, actually the purpose is not to, uh, you know, not to get benefits, actually any kind of benefits. It's solely practice method just to get the platform for vipassana. Practicing, I have seen some lots of disciples in society, they practice method, and by doing so they expect happiness, the physical happiness. They try to uh, be with the people with in a happy mood by just practicing method. That will happen, and they will still reap good results, but that is not the sole purpose. After practicing method, when your mind calms down, when you get the congenial physical or the environment, then you have to turn that samadhi into the vipassana. That is the purpose of Buddhist practice of method. So obviously it will give you the much result. That doesn't, it will obviously happen. There was a our enlightened being, his name was Subhuti. That Subhuti Thera, when he was offered by the laity different kinds of materialistic things, then it is said that uh, the people who offer things to him will get much more merits, because not like the other monks, he always practices method. Due to that, the people who offer things to him will get much more merits, because his mind is practicing method. So obviously, one if one practices method, definitely he will get the much merits. Bhante, can you please advise as to how to incorporate metta practice into daily life? And if I may so ask, when would one notice the 11 benefits mentioned by the Buddha? There's it is said that there are 11 benefits in the Metta Sutta, and to practice metta in day-to-day life, especially as a family member. Suppose if you are a father, if you are a mother, and if you are a brother, and if you are just a member of a company, and you do your works. Suppose as a mother, and you have to take care of your family members, your children, your father, mother, and you have to earn money. And as a mother, you have to, in Sri Lanka, normally as a female, she has to cook, she has to do the chores in the home. But At that time, we shouldn't take that as a burden. And at that time, if we practice like when I am struggling to do the chores or the do the works at the company as a member, then uh, because of my endeavors, others are getting benefits. So that is also kind of method. While working, you practice method. And at that time, it is the opportunity. In that way, if you practice method, you will obviously reap the relevant benefits. Not that uh, we cannot always jump into the metta jhanas, absorptions, getting through the metta as a lay people. Then, because we have lots of commitments to do, you know uh, it doesn't matter. Even at that time, if we can, suppose if you are uh, in a in a in the middle of the so many workings, at that time also uh, you can think of others. Suppose at the time that you are getting so many works, you try to maintain the good mindset. Your method can be tamed others. There was a incident. Our great teacher, once, mm, he reached to a town. At that time, there were a group of people, group of 500 people, followers, just came before him, and they respectfully worshipped and went back. So at that time, Venerable Ananda was with the Buddha, and Venerable Ananda uh, was with the Buddha, and that the member of the group, the chief one, just came to the Venerable Ananda and said, "Bhante, did you see the group of people who have now came and worship you?" "Yes, I have seen them." "Bhante, they worship not with any respect, but with the money, because there was a discussion before they worship. It said that if one doesn't worship the Buddha, they will be fined. So due to the fear of the fine, they worship. The chief said to the Anand. So at that time, Venerable Anand was very worried, and just reached to the Buddha and said to the matter to the Buddha. "My teacher, uh, just before few minutes, group of people came and worship you, but they worship you not with any respect. Yet they just done a work with due to the money. They worship you not because of respect." At that time, Buddha said, what Buddha did was, Buddha just focus on them. In Buddha's mind, just focus them, and Buddha practice method towards them. And at that time, the leader of that group, his name was Roger. He came behind the Buddha, was fine. Buddha was in a one kuti at that time. Buddha was coming behind him, because the Buddha's metta can be felt by the group of people. It is said that, suppose a calf, calf going behind the cow to just find in the milk. In the similar way, that Roger came behind the Buddha. So that means that if you practice metta, you can tame down the others. Suppose if one is always trying to push you, trying to disturb you by giving you worries, giving you hard works, kind of that. At that time, if you can practice metta towards them, then you can tame their mind also. So not only it will give you the 11 benefits, more than that, it will gives you the so many benefits as a practitioner of metta. And Venerable Bhante, what are your thoughts on giving to charitable organizations other than the Buddha and the Sangha? Mm, uh, Even Anāthapiṇḍika also, uh, he is a kind of person like this. He offered things not only to the Buddha Dhamma and the Sangha. And if there's a place, if you see that even away from the Buddha Dhamma Sangha or the monastic community or the mendicants, if you see someone uh, is suffering, then you can giving things, especially like suppose in nowadays, if you countries like Africa, and if you take the community of especially in the Middle East, and they have um, struggling to live because of the the environmental effect, as well as if you want pure that if poor one, then at that time, as a donor you can giving to anyone. It doesn't specifically said the Buddha didn't specifically said, oh no, you have to offer things only to the Buddha. No, it's that wrong. You have to offer, but you can offer to anyone. But the when we read the results, uh, as the Velāma Brahmana said, what happened to Velāma Brahmana? He had offered so many things to the organizations and the communities, but that community didn't represent single one who belongs to the Buddha Sasana. So the benefits he reaped very less because of that. So that we have to remember. But as practitioner, we can offer so many things to anyone. It doesn't matter, not only for the Buddha Dhamma Sangha, to anyone. That's the case. Hope I answered the question. Sorry for all these questions. Thank you for your patience, Bhante. And one more question: how does one differentiate metta from attachment to loved ones? In case of father's love towards son, there may be a lot of attachment. If son gets sick, then the father might get distressed out of love. But then metta shouldn't have such distress. Not sure when attachment ends and metta begins. That is very important question. Uh, you know, especially the Buddha said, in Visuddhimagga also explained this. If you practice metta, you should be impartial. Suppose it's the nature of the father, automatically he practice metta towards his son. Any father does that. So when father practice metta only towards his family, then instead of practicing metta, it is said in the Dhamma, he builds up the craving or the tanha. Because that's why first we have to practice metta towards myself. Then we should not only focus our family members. We have to build up a impartial mind, unbiased mind towards each and every being. If it is a animal like ants, flies, and if there are animals like lions, the animals, and if the divine beings, if the enemies, if there are other human beings which relates to all over the world with maybe from any other race, religion, any other group, we should be able to maintain the same mindset. Otherwise, if we focus only the family members, then it will give much uh, attachment. It will build up, it will enhance the attachment, not the method. So as a father, you first you practice method towards the other beings, not begins with your family. After practicing method towards all the beings except your family first, then you come into that your family. Then you have to practicing metta is to get the, it is called the uh, metta sanya, mean the perception of metta. You have to practice. That means our mind should be able to uh, tune, able to, what I mean that the in this sutta also we have talked about the anicca sanya. Anicca sanya means the the impermanence nature is already existing in this uh, world with us always, whether we have we have aware or not. The truth is always there, so we have to pick up that truth, because that impermanent nature we have to pick up from our mind. Then we have to focus on to that. Then we know at every time the impermanent nature is there. When something happened to us, because of that perception of impermanence, we know how to get rid of that bad situation. Similarly, practicing metta also, we have to pick that perception of metta. That's at that time, whether you are whether you are dealing with your family members, you can deal with them without any attachment. And at the same time, when you are dealing with the enemies, the persons who are not doing bad, the person who are doing bad things to you, at that time also you can maintain a calm mind towards even to them also. So that's why you have to pick up that the permanence, the perception of method. So that's a difficult task. That's why we practice. That is the most important part. Then at that time, in that way, if you practice metta, then you won't build up attachment towards your family members. Instead, you build up the unshaken mind, the equanimity, because you feel uh, equality, equal nature of your mind builds with equal nature to each and every being. So hope I answered your question. It's not bothering that you can ask any question. So our purpose and our duty is to just to answer your questions and share the dhamma to you all. So with that, we have come to the end, and so these are the questions being asked so far. So I have already shared the merit, but doesn't matter. Ultimately, at the end, some have asked questions. That is better, because when you ask a question with in genuine purpose, it will bring benefits not only for yourself but to others also. Because the last question Sud was asking was very interesting. So good question. As a metta practitioners, we should know how to do it. Otherwise, we will be get suppose you like to practice metta, but you focus only toward your family members and your loved ones only. When at that time, what is happening, instead of practicing metta, your attachment will be developed. So like us, if one asks questions in that way, it will bring you much benefit. So I have shared the merits to the devas as well as the venerable sangha, including my teachers, and now I am sharing all these merits and benefits to all the laity, all the lay people, and all the attendees today's Dhamma talk who have asked questions, who have listened to this Dhamma. May they share these merits, and may they receive the infinite blessings of the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha, and all the sentient beings, especially who are struggling to live nowadays. uh, in the globe also, people are struggling with wars, and so many people try to fight each other. So not only in the Middle East, but throughout the world, may all the beings may receive the blessings of the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, and may they find the peace and liberation, and all the beings receive the blessings of the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, and may all have the well-being physically as well as the mentally, and all be able to find the complete liberation by understanding the Buddha's Dhamma. So with that, I am concluding the Dhamma sermon. So I am blessing you with the infinite triple gems with veneration. Receive my blessing. अभिवादन शीलिस् नित्यं वद्धापचायिनो चत्तारो धम्मा वर्धन्ति Ayuvanno sukhang balang. Ayu arogya sampatti. Sagga sampatti mevacha. Atho nibbana sampatti. Iminate samijhatu. There was Sarnai to all Dhamma friends.